Chit Chat with Chiddy, Chidester.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is now season 2, episode 2 of Chit Chat with Chiddy MD. I am Jerry Chidester, MD, medical doctor, plastic surgeon, and hand surgeon. Yes, MD is medical doctor.
Not according to our children.
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
To them, it means my dad, my daddy.
I see rings right now. I can't stare at that light, by the way. Just don't stare into the light. We got a big ring light. I think you just turn it. We can turn it down a little bit.
Don't you have it that bright when you're doing your Instagram stuff?
Yeah, and it's blinding. It's freaking. I do it about this brightness though, because it's right next. It's like literally I put it like this close, because on my phone.
I guess at that, if you're that close, then it's around you. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Anyway, so here we are, episode 2. I hope you guys had a chance to check out last week's episode talking about ghosts. My personal experience with ghosts. You had some experiences. You talked about some stuff. Mandy and I have had experiences together.
I had someone reach out to me about, because I talked about Monticello. They were like, hey, and they knew people that lived in Monticello.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
I went and found a video on YouTube of some kids who broke into Bingham and just filmed it, and it was just real. It was like from 2000 or something, and so it was real creepy to watch. But I watched it right before I went to bed too. So
I was looking stuff up online, trying to find like stories or wives' tales or whatever. See, MD means my dad. Here, let me see it.
The frame's like broken. Anyway, yeah, so I am a plastic surgeon and a hand surgeon. I say hand surgeon. Oh, plastic surgery training actually involves hand surgery. So for 6 years, I did my plastic surgery training. Hand surgery was integral into what we learned. So every plastic surgeon that comes out of training should know how to do some basic hand surgery. I went and did another year fellowship in hand and upper extremity and orthopedics at USC in Los Angeles, East LA, LA County, USC Keck. So if you've ever been in that area, it's fun.
Are there any more acronyms or words you could use to describe it?
Nah.
That's where you did your famous Kiki challenge dances on the roof.
Yeah, on the roof. Yep, USC. That was atop the helicopter pad. That was atop LA County Hospital. That is a busy, talk about busy hospital. That's why I wanted to go there, because it was so busy, so much trauma. I mean, saw everything.
When you got to work, not only the busyness and the trauma of Keck, but you got to go to CHLA too.
Yeah, I had a lot of pediatric hand surgery at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Yeah, that was awesome. That's a really cool hospital, by the way. You know, their cafeteria, it's HBO Cafe. It's HBO Cafe. So like every floor is like, you know, these huge companies have donated money. You ever go to like Panda Express, you know, that's always
even
like,
the
donate.
Hospitals here, like they all have areas named after donors. So theirs is named HBO Cafe.
Yeah, huge HBO sign. But get this. So you walk up, and each of the floors is like a different company. So like the 7th floor is Panda Express floor. And you go up there, and there's like...
So when they ask you to round up your change and it goes to a children's hospital, that's where it goes.
And like there's McDonald's. I mean, there's like... Maybe, I don't know if Toys R Us anymore, but
HBO
like different
is
big
a little
companies.
random for a children's hospital.
Do they have HBO Family? You're thinking of Game of Thrones. It don't matter.
Yeah, all those 3-year-olds in there watching Game of Thrones.
There must be something with someone that works at HBO that's like has some kind of affiliation with the hospital or something.
Yeah, I liked it there. Great experience. So, okay. Last week, so talking about ghosts. If you guys have ghost stories, share it. You know, share with us on YouTube or, you know, DM us some stories, because we are going to probably have a follow-up to that episode. There was a ghost hunter that I know of. Invite her back on. She has her own YouTube channel.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I want to have her come on. I actually want to go out. We should go out with her.
You know, I was thinking, it would be fun to do like a on
site.
Yeah, move it like, I don't know, go hunt down Instagram followers or something. Like
stalk people?
Well, no, like go find them in the street. Like, oh, you recognize this? Here's $100.
This week has been crazy for that.
What do you mean?
For people Instagram followers, for you.
Didn't you go? You met one of them in person somewhere, right? I saw you.
Dude, it's getting so like, I don't know. It's just Utah. So like, it's not a big place, you know. But so I think a lot of my followers.
Small Lake City is what we've heard it called.
Yeah, my followers are mainly
Small Lake
here.
City.
Oh, that too.
But yeah, we went to some restaurant the other day. It was awesome. Like person comes like, hey,
We
you're
went to
Dr.
Hires Big
Chidester.
H, which is so
Yeah.
good. Their hamburgers and their
Yeah, they have
shakes.
awesome food. But the owner there is awesome. Him and his wife follow us, so took a selfie with them. He sent it to his wife. He's excited.
We walked in and
It was fun.
he like did a double take and he's like, "Are you Dr. Chidester?" And we're
It was
like,
awesome.
and I'm like, he's like, "Can I get a selfie?" So I'm like, "Here, let me take it." And he's like, "No, we need the whole family." I'm like,
Yeah,
Okay.
they're
You're
super
famous.
Nice.
so he was so cute.
Did you guys did an interview for a TV show or something, right?
We did.
Yeah, we can't talk about the details, but yeah, we did. So
Shut that
Don't
down.
talk
Shut
about
that
it.
down.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, we can talk about.
What are
it
you guys going to be
again.
doing? Like, do you have to do like more interviews?
So there's
for
two
it, or?
shows.
Are you
Yeah.
still, are you doing that first show still that you were doing previously?
Yeah, we're still working on that. It makes me realize like this whole business is just crazy because stuff changes so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like because we've been doing this for like 8 or 9 months.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps evolving. So I think it's going somewhere. It's
Well, that's
It takes a
why
long time.
some of the people I follow on YouTube who are like really big, like they get presented a lot of TV opportunities, but they don't want to take them like simply for that purpose because it takes forever to develop something in like the traditional TV
It's
media.
crazy.
Yeah, we're
And
YouTube,
like
it's like
YouTube,
instant.
you get the immediate gratification of, oh, I posted it and the people that follow me are watching it. And so
Mhm.
like they usually don't go and do those things because of it takes forever to see
I
some
mean,
kind
your
of traction.
exposure may be different, like YouTube. I mean, unless you have a huge following, but even then, I mean, if
Yeah.
you're on a network channel, I mean, you're talking tens of millions of people, potentially. But you're right, like it doesn't matter because YouTube, you get millions of followers or whatever.
Well,
It doesn't matter.
this one guy, he has 15 million followers,
yeah, that's
but even
huge.
then, like he still he likes the immediate gratification of
yeah.
giving it
Filming,
to
When you're in control of
posting.
it,
Yeah.
and that's what we've talked about. That's why I think we kind of initiated this. We're like, well, you know what, like we can do these TV shows, and that's working in the background. But we're like, let's just do this now and do our own thing and have fun doing it and get the more instant gratification. People don't have to wait for 2 years to see something.
Yeah, those 50 subscribers we have, they're like dying to see this new content.
I know, man. Yeah, it's all right. It'll get there.
Everybody-
No, we're actually
crossing the
we're up in the
fingers.
70s now.
Bang.
Where is it?
Actually, since you did the tonight, you did the new giveaway,
Mm-hmm.
and we got like over 150 followers in like 30 minutes.
On Instagram.
Wow.
Oh yeah, dude. It's just gonna get ramped up, by the way. So you guys, this is the Married Chidmas. This is like my favorite things for Christmas. Unfortunately, it's not played out, but so many people have done the 12 days of Christmas. Like, yeah, we know, we get that, but we want to do something a little bit different. So that's why we're doing my favorite things because there's things that you may have noticed on my Instagram that I talk about all the time that I like. So I'm trying to give those things away.
Beamers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on the
we're
one
giving a
post, you
Beamer.
had people guess.
A lot of people guessed very correctly. Like it's
A
like
lot of people
scary
were
how well
very
they know
close.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you talk about so.
You should have
things
done your
so
first one as
specifically.
Mountain Dew. That's what you should
Oh, I
just
know,
one
start-
big case of
I was
Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
surprised you started as big as Lululemon.
I know, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh wow,
That's how
where are
we're
you gonna go
going.
from here? You're gonna go
Exactly.
backwards, maybe. I guess
No,
you're
I
gonna
go
end with
backwards.
Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Ending with the AirPod Pros
Yeah.
and something else. We have some big stuff coming. Some
Yeah, I
exciting
think
stuff.
you're like 900 followers away from giving
From
out
10,000.
those.
Even less now. It's like I was just checking.
Yeah.
I mean, we're up at almost 9,200 just from
Oh
this
really?
evening.
It was
Yeah.
9,100 yesterday. That's
Dude, I woke
crazy.
up. I had like 30-70 followers overnight. I don't
guess
know.
we-
People are
I
awake.
I guess you'll
bored.
be giving those away pretty soon.
I think what's been very helpful. So I get plastic surgeons. I get other specialties surgeons messaging me all the time about my Instagram. And I don't have that many followers, like it's not a lot. But I think you guys that follow me, you're like real people. You actually mean
It's-
something to me.
It's because
and
you've done
we've
it
been that tight-knit.
organically
Mhm.
and you
Yeah.
haven't bought
Yeah.
followers and
Well, and you're
Well, we just
genuine.
we buy them
Yeah.
through gift cards. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but it's just trying to get exposure, and
Mm-hmm.
so, but yeah, like I have people all the time messaging me like, "Well, how do you do this?" And honestly, it's my
Make
time.
a lot of TikToks.
I love
so
TikTok.
speaking of
I
TikToks
love
and like
TikToks.
finding Instagram followers, he went to the bank to deposit something and I was on like the phone with him so I could hear everything going on like on
yeah, I was on
speaker,
speakerphone in the car.
And all of a sudden they're like, "Is there anything else I can do for you?" He's like, "Nope, that's it." And she's like, I hope you're gonna go home and make more TikToks. Or she said something about. I heard her say
You're
something
gonna do your
about
daily
making
TikTok
TikTok.
today.
Like, it
when are you
was-
gonna post your daily TikTok?
And so
There was no
he-
indication that she knew of
Yeah.
you
I was
before
looking
that.
No.
down. Yeah, and I'm like, what the?
And so he
That's
looked
why I
up,
look over.
and he looked over, and there's 3 girls like,
Oh, they
Looking
knew
out
who you
the
were,
window,
just looking.
and they're
have
like, they're all, "You're our favorite," and he's like, "Okay, I'll go home and make one, and I'll tag you." And she's like, "Okay, this is my name," and she like gave her handle.
Yeah, I tagged her yesterday.
And then another one messaged him. She's like, "I was there too. This is, so he tagged both of them in the TikTok.
I
But
have
it was so funny. He was
a
like,
T-shirt designed
What?
for you specifically for TikTok, so we'll roll that out at some point.
"Oh, nice."
Oh yeah. So that's the other thing is some merch. We give away some merch.
Yeah,
You got some awesome designs, dude.
well, there's only 2 designs, but they come in a lot
They
of
look
different
good.
colorways.
I love it.
Because, well, when we put them on, like a few months ago, we put them out there and people voted. Those were the 2 they
Mhm.
liked.
Cool.
So I figure we can do those. But it's all, doing the website was the first part. Now we have to actually go make the shirts. So
We'll run.
Okay, well,
He's
we've
good at that
gotten
stuff.
some chit-chatting done, but let's introduce your guest.
Yeah. So our first guest here today is Cheryl.
first
Hello.
guest, season 2.
I'm the first guest.
guest. You are. You're our
Ooh.
first special guest.
I'm there.
Mindy is like our honorary guest / honorary host.
She's always there.
But you're our first guest for this season.
I try and
Thank
She was really
you.
only
Thanks.
not on like 2. So I mean, she's
So she's
pretty
part of
much.
the host.
It's just the 3 of us that do it.
Yeah, I try and run away and hide.
How many other
sometimes,
guests
but-
have you had before me?
We've had
4.
a few.
Four?
Four.
Okay.
4 out of the 8 episodes we had guests, not including the kids. The kids were on one of the episodes.
Okay.
And then we had the employee roast one time. Did you count them?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
it's a lot of guests.
So we're trying.
5, I guess. 5 episodes of guests.
Yeah, I think it makes it, as entertaining as me and Jerry sometimes are. I think people would
better
rather
have
like hear
both
some
of
unique
it.
stories from guests. So it's always I look forward to the guest episodes more than trying to fill an hour of talk between me and
Dude,
Jerry.
I can talk all the
I
time.
know you can.
I can talk. I talk all
Me
day.
and Ron just sit here.
Yeah, I literally talk to my patients all day. I talk on Instagram all day. I just talk.
You're very entertaining.
Or just people,
That's why people
start
love you.
zoning me out. So Cheryl, we've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
For like how long?
We're basically
Well, you're-
family.
yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Since you were like a baby, pretty much.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty
Well,
sure I changed your diaper a couple
So
been-
times.
I actually knew Cheryl's sisters
yeah.
in elementary school.
Yeah.
So yeah, you probably did change your diaper.
Yeah.
No, they changed her diapers.
Okay. Yeah. So, but we'll talk about why we had you on today, why you're here.
Mhm.
But tell us maybe a little about yourself, maybe about your family if you want, or kind
Sure.
of what you do. And
Well, I work for Mindy's family at the pharmacy
cool.
as a tech, and then I just stay at home with my baby, who's 3, and she is just
She's a cutie.
she's cute. Yeah,
She's so cute.
3. When did she turn 4?
About.
Okay.
So
Oh,
she's
so she's
about,
just
Yeah,
recently
Yeah.
she's a
turned
couple
She's
months
in-
older than McKay.
she's
Yeah.
in preschool, daycare,
Oh yeah.
so she's just
Loving
crazy.
life.
Yeah, she's just
That's
insane.
Is she a 3-nager yet?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, she was a
Oh.
teenager at 2,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, McKay's.
We have moments of that, but
Wait,
Okay,
he's
every
pretty
time
chill.
I've ever seen him, he seems like
He's so
he's
cute.
the perfect
He
angel.
really is.
And I'm always
He's
like,
pretty good.
anytime I bring Tice around, I'm like, oh man, like
he
this.
talks so well.
He makes
too.
Tice look so bad.
No, Tyson's great.
McKay is
No,
pretty
he,
chill. He's
he's-
funny. What's he been talking about lately? About something about peppers or spicy or something? What was he
Yes,
saying?
Daddy eats green peppers, and he goes peppers.
Peppers.
They're
He has his-
spicy
He
peppers.
has this funky accent. Peppers.
Just recently, his R's, and it's my
R.
favorite. I
It's
love
so
it.
cute.
I think
Water.
He's rolling his
Water.
He
R's
loves
already.
water.
Or water. He like emphasizes the R's.
But yeah, so one day Jerry had a plate, or maybe it was me. Maybe I had a plate and it had some jalapenos. I like the flavor of jalapenos, but sometimes they get too spicy for me. So I'll have them in my food, but then I'll push them to the side and I won't eat the jalapeno. Well, McKay decided to eat it. So he just picked it up and popped it right in his
Oh.
mouth, and
Did he die?
yes.
Oh.
And then he did it again.
So he liked
Like,
it.
Stop.
He's addicted
So
to
now
pain.
he knows.
He
He can only eat, and the only green thing he likes to eat is lettuce.
Yes, he
He
loves
loves
Yetis.
lettuce.
We were at Leatherby's, his ice cream parlor, like creamery. He literally ordered flipping lettuce.
I got him a side salad.
We got him.
and he
We got
was
our 2-year-old a
delighted.
side salad. He said it was eating.
My
salad.
daughter loves lettuce too.
Dude,
she won't eat anything
so
else.
crazy.
She literally will get a
Really?
hamburger and
Yeah,
I'll
eat
get
the
the one from
lettuce,
In-N-Out
yes.
with the lettuce wrap,
Yeah.
and she will literally eat all the lettuce and will leave
That's
everything.
He
how
loves
he is.
lettuce.
So
Yep.
that's why I ordered him the side
So
salad,
funny.
and he was delighted.
Our other 2 kids, no way. No way.
Yeah.
No.
So it's just funny. This 2-year-old loves lettuce. And he loves rice. Like,
Lettuce sounds like
Lettuce.
a product being sold by Kanye.
It
That's,
does.
that's what he.
Lettuce.
That's what he would call his
Easy
lettuce.
lettuce.
Easy lettuce. Yeah, dude, it's pretty awesome. And he loves rice. So he loves my mom's restaurant because he loves to eat rice.
Mhm.
Grandma's to eat rice.
We went over to visit them on Sunday, and he's like,
wanted
"Can
rice.
I have some rice? Like, where's my rice?"
He
my rice.
sees my mom and he just wants rice. It's like, bro, that's borderline racist. That's funny. So my mom has these like little, it's like Korean rice, and they come in. I don't know. This is, to me, it's
She bought you like 3 packs. They're sitting
yeah.
in
So
our
this is the thing.
pantry.
It's shelved rice. You
Cooked.
open it up and
You
it's
just heat
cooked,
it.
but it's tastes good. I don't know how you heat it up. It's cooked and it's like gooey kind of, but good.
It's kind of that sticky.
It reminds
rice.
me of
It's
Nesquik.
like a box of rice.
Dude,
It's
it's
like
like
a bowl.
Nesquik chocolate
Bowl.
milk.
Mhm, you just
How can you
pull
have
the top-
chocolate milk on a shelf for like 3 years and then drink it and it still tastes good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's
a
not
little weird.
milk.
Lots of preservatives.
What is it?
Yeah.
It's
I
cancer.
think it's changed because I used to, when I was in college, I loved Nesquik chocolate milk. I would literally stop it. So right when you get off the 215 freeway on Foothill, because I go up to the University of Utah, I'd take 215, There's a Chevron right there. I'd go get the Chevron. I'd go get Fritos, so the chili cheese Fritos, and I'd get the Nesquik chocolate milk. And
I
then it
never-
changed one day.
I never could drink the Nesquik out of the bottle because it
Yeah.
tastes weird. But when
Uh-huh.
I was a kid, we always get the Nesquik powder
Oh, that sounds
and then
good.
put it in the milk. Like
real
that's
milk.
way better.
Yeah.
And
Like,
you can control the amount of chocolate.
yeah, well, and
Yeah.
that and
But
it's
actual
it's like
milk.
well, they use
Yeah.
different types of milk in
Yeah.
the bottling, right? Like they
True.
use like really thick milk, and like I just use regular super,
Human milk.
grocery store
Cow
milk.
What
milk.
so,
kind? What percent milk do you like?
I like both 2% and whole.
See, I'm a
Okay.
whole right here.
See, I thought when you were
I
gonna
grew
say
up
it was
drinking
thick,
whole.
I thought you were gonna say
No,
like
but even, like
1%.
honestly, I don't notice the difference between whole and 2%.
It's pretty close.
Like to me, they're the same. Like skim milk,
to
you'll
him,
notice
there's
the
a
difference.
huge difference.
Used to be. You upgraded me
2%
to
might as well
2%.
be skim milk to him.
No, 2% is fine now.
You do great now.
But starting,
after
dude,
15
when we
years
first
of
were
marriage.
married, yeah, I could not handle it. I was like,
And
dude,
I was like,
this is water.
He
I
wanted
had to go from 1%, and now I'm at 2%. But
really?
yeah, I
he
was
wanted
at 1%.
whole, and I'm not a huge milk person at all, so I was at 1%. And he was like, so we compromised with 2. We
Well, you
stuck
know
with
that
2.
whole milk, it's not like it's 100% milk. It's only like, what, 3 or 4%? You
No,
know?
it's whole fat.
Yeah, whole fat. But the actual percentage of
I
milk in the
know.
water is still super low.
I know.
When
gonna
I was younger,
be-
I actually
It's
thought it was
just
like,
so
oh, it's
thick.
it's
All
like
milk.
straight. I
It's
thought it was whole milk.
straight.
The whole thing's milk. There's no water in here.
It's gonna be
That's what I
hard to come up with a title for this podcast if we just keep talking about milk.
That's fine. There doesn't need to be a title. This
I
is
know.
everything. Okay.
Yeah. Let's
So
get
we
back
have
to
to- we have
Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Show about nothing.
So sure, I don't know how we
It's
ended up
fine.
talking about whole milk.
fine.
Okay. But this is where we're going with this thing. Okay. So let's talk about you.
Okay.
So at the beginning of this, before we were kind of conversing and kind of talking. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your health, your medical history, and kind of why we brought you on today and what we're going to be talking about. Maybe you
Okay.
can introduce it.
Which camera do I look at?
You can look at this.
That one?
This
Okay.
this is the big one.
Okay. Well, this is a long story, I guess, but long story short, got weight loss surgery in Mexico, but previously, before that, I had tried lots of things to lose weight. I don't think you come to the conclusion of like getting surgery across like country border like lightly. I think a lot of people think that people impulsively go get surgery, across the border pretty impulsively. But I had tried a lot of things losing weight, and I had a lot of health issues before I had the surgery, so I was really nervous. I had a lot of lung issues. I was in the hospital like for 2 weeks with like pneumonia and blood infections,
And those were a result of your weight at the time?
I'm not sure, but I felt like I couldn't work out. So like my lungs were so bad, I was not able to like work
Get any
out. My
cardio.
knees, my back, like everything was like I would go to the gym and I would have like the best of intentions to like go to the gym. And I know like 80% of it I hear is like just your food. But I also have like a history of like disordered eating in the fact that like emotional eating and kind of going back and forth. So I would lose 20 pounds and then something would happen and I would gain it right back. So it was something like, it was like, I would say years and years and years of that after I had my daughter, like just kind of having babies kind of.
What was the weight loss surgery you got? Was it like gastric bypass?
No, I didn't get bypass. So I got the gastric sleeve. So bypass is a little bit more dangerous is the research that I've done. And I didn't feel like, because bypass is usually, they recommend it for like bigger like BMIs. And I was at, I don't know what my BMI was, but I was about 241 pounds at that point, like at my highest weight. Mm-hmm. And so they had recommended, and I did a bunch of research, but they had recommended that I do the sleeve, and that's what I wanted to do anyway. And so the difference between the sleeve and the bypass is actually a pretty big difference. People think it's the same thing, but it's huge.
Totally different.
Totally different. And I'm glad that I did the sleeve. So the sleeve, they cut out like 80% of your stomach.
Yeah, because there's different ways, right, of addressing your diet. So there's there's all the things where, you know, they'll do these lap bands, right? So they're trying to control essentially, you know, what the amount of food you can take in, the amount of food you can hold, or the amount of food you can absorb, right? Mm-hmm. So that when you talk about rerouting or, you know, Roux-en-Y or gastric bypass, right, you're bypassing the system that is absorbing a lot of that food, or bypassing the system that lets you store it, right? So if you don't have your stomach, a lot of people's stomachs are very expanded, and so, you know, the size of your stomach, the stretch, and all this stuff affects your brain and how you think, how hungry you are. So if you can kind of trick your brain or reroute things, that's why there's like Roux-en-Y and all these ways to, you know, kind of like essentially rehook up your plumbing system or your system to get the food. But you're right. So sleeve is more limiting the amount, right? So it's actually taking a portion out of that. But with that, you know, they all have different effects, right? We kind of talked about, so again, absorption. So there's things, and you probably looked into this, right? So why would one be better than the other? And what have you noticed anything? And we'll talk about your experience getting the surgery and stuff, but have you noticed anything in terms of your diet? Do you have to do things differently, like in terms of taking vitamins, supplements? What other things do you have to do now that you did before?
It's crazy. People always are like, I mean, not to my face, obviously. People aren't like, oh, you took the easy way out. But like, I mean, online and things like that, a lot of people are like, oh, they just took the easy way out. And I'm like, oh, if you only knew, like, what
the after effects
what the
are.
after effects are.
Weight.
No, it's not just losing weight. And yeah, I'm not like working out crazy, like 3 hours a day and like starving myself in the fact that like I'm like always hungry, because I'm never hungry now. But like the effects just are crazy. Like I can't eat anything. I mean, I literally can't eat more than like 5 or 6 bites.
It's great going to dinner with her because you just munch on her.
I'll pay for your dinner.
Yeah, exactly. I literally will just eat off other people's plates.
Like,
I don't.
So you're full.
Yeah, I'm full after 5 to 6 bites, and I know when I get full.
Yeah.
Because my nose starts running, my stomach feels tighter. Like I feel like sometimes there's like if I eat too much, then that's bad. So I have eaten. So like I've had when I went to England just recently, and we had fish and chips, and I took off the breading off of the fish and was just eating the fish, but I was really, really hungry. Yeah. And I ate too much and I ate too fast, and I felt so sick. I went to the bathroom, I had to throw up. And it was like, and I literally had probably like, I don't know, like 3 ounces of fish, like nothing.
So how long has it been since you had your surgery?
So it's been 9 months. So I had it in March of 2019.
And so is your mind supposed to like acclimate to like how much your stomach can now take in? Because what you just described, it sounded like your mind had a different thought than what your stomach did, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, honestly, like after the first, like, so I couldn't chew for 6 weeks after I had, and a week before, you can't eat.
You just were like on liquid
I
diet?
was on liquid. and then I was on pureed for like 3 weeks. So it was like liquid, and then puree, and then you can have soft foods, and then you can start having regular foods after 6
Try to
weeks.
slowly break back
But
into
even
it.
then, it was probably 2 months that I started actually eating real food. I was on puree for like a whole month. It was really rough. So mentally, I was like regretting my decision for probably.
That's hard. That's a lifestyle change.
Well,
to,
yeah,
you
and
know.
I wasn't like, like when you don't see immediate gratification, when you're like, oh, I'm not immediately skinny, then, oh, screw this, I'm done. Like, I don't know. So I was like, I was kind of regretting my decision because I was not seeing the big picture. And then I wasn't seeing like further ahead where I was like, oh, this does get easier. And so I think mentally for like 3 or 4 months, I was kind of regretting the decision.
And when you're saying, there's this perception that people think this way is the easy way out, you can't just change your mind after the fact, right? Like if I go on a diet and I start exercising and I want to just be a vegan or something, I could just decide to quit and go back to eating meat all day, right? Like that's more
you can change
easy,
your mind,
right?
yeah.
Like you've made a permanent choice.
Yeah.
That
Right. Yeah. I like had therapy. I had like tons of therapy around it.
That was all based here.
Yeah.
You did all that here before you did the surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been in therapy for like 3 years, like pretty intensive therapy, but then I had the surgery and then I just basically focused on that aspect because you can't go back. You just have to move forward with where you're at. And I think after about 4 months, I kind of accepted like where it was at. Like, this is my decision. This is what I did. And I think I don't regret it now for sure. But it is something that I wasn't expecting because of like the disordered eating that I had before, where the binging, and the emotions. I actually have to deal with my emotions now. And like before I would just eat them. And so it's like, okay, what am I going to do? Okay, now I can actually do healthy things. Like I can do yoga or I can, do things I enjoy that aren't just eating.
Retail therapy?
Retail therapy. Yes.
Have you gotten to the point where now you feel like it was worth it?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think though that there are times where you go up and down where you're just like, oh man,
you kind of even portrayed a little bit of your ups and downs on your Instagram account.
Yeah.
Like her on the way down, she'll show like when she's feeling discouraged or, this week. Is it weekly that you track?
Yeah, I'll track like my weight.
She'll be like, yeah, this week I didn't lose very much and I was kind of discouraged and like this week was high, this week was low.
You said your max weight was 241. Where are you at now? Do you know?
I'm at 239. Or sorry, not 239.
I was going to say, you need to update your Instagram because it said 130 something.
No, I'm 139. Sorry.
Okay, wow. So
over 100 pounds.
And my goal weight was, when I told the surgeon, he said, what's your goal weight? And I said 140. And I would be fine between 130, 140, but I was like 140, I'll be fine at 140. I've actually never been this low since that I can ever remember. Literally, I think in high school, I was reading back on my journals in high school and I remember writing about my weight and I was like in the 160s and I was like, I've literally never been this low since like middle school.
And have you plateaued at this point? Have you pretty stable at 139 or are you?
The last 2 weeks, yeah, I've been stable at this weight and I'm fine with where I'm at. I think because I've got pretty wide hips. Like you can, like when I lay down, you can see my hip bones like pretty much jutting out. So like I don't know if I'm meant to be any smaller than I am right now, just because my bone structure. Yeah.
So with kind of being where you potentially want to be long term, and yet you're still limited in how much you can eat, and you're still trying to do exercise, is there a risk that you're going to lose too much?
I was worried about that a few months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago. I was losing really rapidly. But then I found out, I guess it was longer. It was about 4 months ago. I had pneumonia again. I got pneumonia and I was hoping, honestly, and I knew this is a stupid thought, but I was like, this is going to fix all of my health problems. Like losing weight is going to fix everything. And it didn't. I mean, I got pneumonia again and it was awful. And so I was losing weight rapidly because of the pneumonia that I didn't know that I had. But But then I realized that I did, and then I got on track. But what was your question? I'm really sorry. I get off track easily.
So going forward, like, do you, if you continue to, do routine exercise and your meals are so low, just, that's how they have to be. Like, do you risk, losing more than you want? I just reset it. Sorry, I got it.
Ron's on top of it.
Yeah. So I actually don't exercise other than I do yoga, and that's it. I've been wanting to do some weightlifting to like get some muscles and not just like be a saggy ball of skin. But like I also am worried about that, losing more, because I've only just the last 2 weeks have been stabilizing and not just losing. And so I want to stabilize, and then I want to be able to eat more, and I'm trying to get more protein in, but I hate protein shakes. So I'm trying to get like beans and like meat as much as I can, but I'm only able to eat so much. So I'm just like, I'm really nervous to start doing that.
I do have a question for you, and this is, I think, one thing I wanted to talk about is, you talked about going and doing therapy before going there, kind of getting your mindset, everything ready. Was that a requirement for this doctor you went to and you went to where? Puerto Vallarta?
Puerto Vallarta,
okay.
yeah.
And you'd done your research on this doctor, surgeon, whatever they were. But what was the plan for follow-up from them? And then with you being here, who's following you? Do you have a nutritionist? Do you have a dietitian? Do you follow up with that doctor? Like, what's the kind of care? Because for me as a physician, that scares me. And this is one of the things I want to bring up is,
100%.
For me, I follow up with my patients like 1 day after surgery, 1 week after surgery, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, every year for the rest of their life. But I want to know, like, what's their responsibility and role towards you?
Yeah. I think that's one thing that you kind of miss out on when you go to Mexico. Like, I think that's part of why it is so cheap. And I did a bunch of research. I read a bunch of reviews. I did a bunch of, like, the hospital I stayed at was literally the nicest hospital I've ever been in and the best care I've ever had. And, like, it was really, I did a bunch of research about it before I went. And it was really scary. But yeah, I think what you sacrifice, because I've done research here and I called my insurance and they were like, no matter what, we will not cover the surgery, no matter what. Like, whether you qualify, whatever, you can't. Yeah. Like, my insurance specifically would not cover it. So
that's definitely out of network.
So, but like, I was trying to get it done in the States first. So like, I was calling to see if doctors here could do it for.
That's crazy that they wouldn't do it here.
No. Well, and
insurance
it's insane.
Is the best.
It's insane. Like, even the insurances that do cover it, like, require an insane amount of, like,
it's crazy.
Like, it has to be like a life-threatening issue.
Crazy.
But I think one of the things...
it's just they have so many strict requirements you have to hoops you have to jump through because they have people that are trying to abuse the system. And I see all the time because I do a lot of surgeries related to weight loss that some are covered by insurance. But yeah, they want to make sure people aren't just abusing the system and doing that. So they do make you go through a lot of hoops. So it's not a life-threatening thing. That has to be, that's covered. But yeah, these things are elective technically, but you have to meet their criteria.
Yeah, yeah. And even my insurance would be like, I was like, well, I've done all these things. I've done Weight Watchers. I've had personal trainers. Like, I can show like everything I've done. And they still were like, no matter what, we will not. So then I moved, and my sister actually had surgery in Mexico. She didn't go to the same place I did. She went to Tijuana, and most people go to Tijuana for things
That's
like
what
that.
I like.
Whenever
I think of,
it's closer, yeah. You
whenever
fly
I
to
think of
California
medical
and you
tourism.
drive across the border.
Okay.
But I just flew straight to
Is that
Puerto
what you
Vallarta.
pictured?
Yeah, like I was thinking, like, I was surprised that she went to Puerto Vallarta because one, it's so far away, and two, it's much nicer than I imagine medical tourism being. Like, I literally pictured Tijuana, which is like, a guy doing shots of tequila
Little
right before
kids
he operates
asking
on
for
you.
money
Yeah,
on the
like,
streets. Yeah.
like I just don't have a very good, perspective of what that would be, and so I was surprised to hear it was Puerto Vallarta, and Tijuana does sound more of what I would expect.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Tijuana for any reason, let alone
and that's
medical
why I did
procedure.
it. They do have a lot of surgeons there, and my sister had a great experience at her place, and she's had great success as well. But I also didn't want to. at first I didn't want to tell anybody that I had the surgery, which actually when I posted, so I have a weight loss account on Instagram, but then I have my own personal account that I just recently posted and told everybody I actually had weight loss surgery. So everyone can stop asking me what I'm doing.
What are you doing to lose all this weight?
I'm like, oh, just eating less.
It's true. Technically true.
I ate 3
I just cut
ounces
out
3
sugar.
times a day.
Right. Yeah. Just cutting out sugar and eating less. But yeah, I think one of the things, going back to what you were saying, is sacrificing the patient care. I had great care while I was there.
Yeah.
And I had great, but it was, there was
follow-up.
there was not follow-up. There is a Facebook group that the doctor is part of, and people post things on, and it's a good support group with other people who've had it done. And, but other than that, like, I don't get much of that. Here I have, so I have my pulmonologist. That is my old woman doctor that I'm like 80 years old with my lungs. But I have my pulmonologist who recommended a gastroenterologist. And then, so I've been to a gastroenterologist, and then my OB kind of follows as well. So like, I just tell all of the doctors that I go to, and they're pretty supportive. And then, like I said, my therapist, she recommended a nutritionist, but I haven't seen one yet. And I think I might, in just a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not here to give medical advice, but I agree. I mean, I think it's important. GI is very important because, all these things you can have issues with, because I don't know if you have an operative report for what they actually did. Or if they even wrote one.
No,
but that's important because, again, it depends on, the gastric sleeve, like how much they take off. Where do you take it off? From the antrum, from the, what part of the stomach? Like, there's a lot of parts of the stomach that can cause things like malabsorption or in nutritional problems because you can't absorb vitamins, minerals, and, we don't know the credentials of that doctor. But it's good because I think as long as you're following with someone here, that's good because they're going to watch you. And, it sounds like your weight's stable and everything. Those are all good things. And so, you're right. I think, and then some people will look at that and say, well, look, my insurance didn't cover it here. What do you want me to do? And it's a surgery that I've been wanting to do. I've done all my part, but you're kind of, and I see that where people get trapped in this thing, like, what do I do? And then you have family, and this is very common. So for me, when I was in Southern California in training, we had a lot of people coming from Tijuana actually with problems with like tummy tucks and things and infections and stuff. But it's always like, oh, I had a family member that went to Mexico and they had a great experience. And so most people probably do, but you just don't want to be the one that maybe has a problem.
We rarely hear about the ones that do.
Well,
yeah.
Just like with anything in life, you tend to hear more about the negative things more than the positive things.
Well, and then you hear about the medical tourism that happens in Mexico, like, I don't know. You hear all these horror stories, and I'm like, well, those things happen in America too. Like, a lot of times it's a complication with the patients, not, like, it's not a doctor thing or anything else.
Yeah.
I know that there are places, like in Tijuana, they did have something like wrong with the hospital, but that's why you have to do your research with your hospital and don't go to the cheapest place. I mean, it's way cheaper than America, but don't go to the cheapest place in Mexico. Like, I mean, I went to a nicer place in Mexico, and I feel like it was worth it. And I mean, I did read up on like the doctor's credentials and like and a ton of reviews and like all these things. And I felt like, you know what, if I don't get this done and I just keep gaining weight, like the risks of like, like happening in surgery aren't as bad as me,
what you're going through.
Passing away from some other health issue that I have. Like, I just felt like this was literally like one of those like situations where I was like, I have to choose. Like, I know this is
well, and you, like you said, you did your research. You did a lot of stuff, and I think some people maybe they're just more impulsive and they just let's go do this, So, like, I think you did due diligence. I mean, I have people here in the U.S. that come and they just haven't looked up anything. They don't know. They don't even know sometimes if it's a plastic surgeon they just saw. I'm like, that's not a plastic surgeon actually. Like, oh, they're not. So, like, you did your due diligence, and like you said, you weigh, and I think that's the important thing is weighing risks and benefits, right? You thought ahead. You're like, if I don't do something, my insurance is not going to help me. I have other health issues going on, and this could be even more permanent and worse. So I see where you're coming from.
So, you do a lot of tummy tucks. Is there any, can people who get weight loss surgery, are they eligible to also do tummy tucks at a later point, or is there any kind of medical conflicts there?
Yeah, so I'm pretty thorough when it comes to what we call massive weight loss. So, if you've lost 100 pounds or more, there's definitely criteria. So one is making sure medically, you're healthy. And I always do, like for me personally, I check, your vitamin levels, all those things, and make sure your weight's stable too. So you have to be a weight stable for about 6 months. Because if you're still losing weight or, kind of fluctuating, and weight stable, I'm talking about within 5-10 pounds. Like it's fine to fluctuate a little bit. But yeah, so once
daily.
you're at that, but once you're there for
daily.
6 months, that's kind of like, okay, we've kind of met your goal weight, where you're at and where you want to be. And then, because that's also going to kind of indicate how much loose skin you have, because you lose so much of the fatty tissue, but the skin, you're not going to lose skin. Skin doesn't fall off. You burn the fat or the fat shrinks down, but the skin
and some
doesn't.
of the skin is there's elastin in it, and some of it shrinks in a little. But when there's massive weight loss,
it's usually
almost
rapid.
too rapid.
That's
to
the thing.
shrink
Yeah,
in.
exactly. It's like both ways, right? Like if you women who get pregnant or their breasts all of a sudden engorge, their skin gets stretched out quickly. Same thing. You go the other way. You lose the fat and your skin can't keep up with how fast it's shrinking or wants to shrink. So yeah, I mean, tummy tuck is a big part of massive weight loss surgery. It's one of the main components, and sometimes people need very extensive because it's from hip to hip, but even in this vertical direction, because you have skin laxity like in this direction, like an accordion direction, and an up and down like a blinds.
But even like and massive weight loss in general, that makes sense, but like is there any, like having gastric bypass or gastric sleeve, like is there any, especially if it's like medical tourism related and they don't have necessarily like the doctor paperwork to indicate what exactly happened? Is there any thing you have to be extra cautious of when doing tummy tucks in those situations?
I mean, the only thing is sometimes there are, like I mentioned, there's lap bands. There's different things where they'll put like a little port sometimes where people can adjust things. So probably not the sleeve, but there are ways you can adjust it.
I didn't know that.
They'll put a button. It's kind of under the skin, and then you can go in and you can adjust it. Like you put saline or whatever and kind of deflate
like
the balloon.
for a lap band.
There's different bands, that you can kind of change the diameter. But there's a little port, and that's the one thing I'd want to know, because I want to know where it is, because I don't want to go in there and do a tummy tuck and then cut the port, and then they're like, oh great, now they're gonna be mad at me because I ruined their their port. So that's kind of the main thing. But again, if I check, we're checking.
The tummy tuck is on a different plane than
right.
Yeah, but that's the main thing I would want to know. But yeah, it's other things in terms of the actual surgery. I mean, usually the patients know, like, she knows exactly what she had done, at least what, we know she's had done. And I know a lot, I mean, even here in the U.S., sometimes I can't get operative reports. So, and you can kind of tell, like, if you have laparoscopic scars versus a big open gash on the abdomen, like, so those are things I definitely take into account, looking where scars are. How much weight is lost, how rapid, how long, how weight stable, what's your nutrition level, are you going to heal? Because the big thing with tummy tucks is you have to heal that incision we make,
Well, and sometimes they don't want or need a full tummy tuck. Sometimes they want a paniculectomy.
What's that?
Yeah, so a paniculectomy, so the panis, it's like an apron, so that's skin that hangs down.
That's what I have.
It's called a panis.
So yeah, the panis would just be taking that off, and the paniculectomy doesn't involve kind of incision on the belly button and addressing skin above the belly button.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do want that, but insurances won't cover a tummy tuck. They'll cover paniculectomies sometimes. Again, there's strict criteria.
Very strict.
Yeah.
So very strict. So even then, a lot of massive weight loss patients or people who have had bypass or sleeves that have lost weight, like, I mean, they're paying for it on their own, and then, arms, your thighs, everywhere it loses it.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm literally just sagging everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's fun.
But it's definitely, a lot of plastic surgeons do this. I do it as well. I saw a few people today for consultation for it, lower
And
body
is that
lifts.
usually when you do not just the extended, but the circumferential body lift?
Yeah, there's circumferential body
all
lift.
the
There's
way
belt
around
lipectomies.
your hip areas, through
So,
your back and everything.
yeah, we kind of look at different areas. So I look at medial thigh, tummy, lateral thigh, buttock, right? So kind of those are the 4 main areas. And if we need to address all of them, then there's different ways we can address that. You can do it at one stage sometimes if it's safe for the patient. Again, like we call lower body lift, so the whole body we're lifting up, including the thighs and the tummy. And then some people we break it up. So we say, well, look, for you and your safety and your healing and your health and your pain, all that, we would do the tummy tuck first. Come back in 3 to 6 months, do the lower back and lift everything up. So you can
mentioned
stage it.
Like this direction too.
Yeah, the horizontal.
Yeah.
Laxity.
Is that when you do the fleur-de-lis?
Yeah, so the fleur-de-lis, it's like a French flower looking thing. So if you look at a fleur-de-lis, how it looks, it's, there's the horizontal component, the normal tummy tuck, kind of the ellipse, and then imagine another ellipse vertically in the middle of that. That's a fleur-de-lis. So that would be in both directions, yeah. And then you have the scar.
It's kind of like an inverted T.
Yeah, and the scar ends up
Do you
looking
do
at
that one with the T?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, if you need it. Yeah, and so it's always, I talk to the patients like, is this worth the scar for you? Because some people have a little bit of laxity, but they're like, well, I don't know if I want to commit to that scar because I'm okay, because even with a horizontal, the tummy tuck incision, you can kind of cheat it in and bring everything in without needing the vertical. But some people, you just need it, and that's up to the patient. You can stage it. You can do a tummy tuck and then come back and do a fleur-de-lis later. You can always stage things, which I tend to do that with patients, depending on their health, their age, and kind of what's going on in their lives, I mean, sometimes it's not the best thing for patients to do it all at once. And you want to do it safely at under 6 hours. So if it's going to be like 7-8 hours surgery, like I don't want to commit someone to unsafe, prolonged surgery.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, so I got for my surgery, we had, they did an epidural for anesthesia instead of it being like general anesthesia. So they did, what is, like, I didn't really get a chance to like ask them like why, other than I did like that idea because
you were out.
Well, because I hear that the risks are always in the anesthesia, not necessarily with the surgery itself. It's the anesthesia, and so they were like, well, we kind of limit that risk by doing an epidural, which is mainly a lot of the reason why I chose to go there specifically, because I was nervous about like being intubated.
Well, I mean, I think I'm not an anesthesiologist, but what I would say is if you talk to anesthesiologists and things, I mean, they're very comfortable with managing people's airways and things. And so I think for the one part for them is like, that's not a big deal. So it is more about patient safety, right? So they look at your risk and your risk profile. Maybe they thought that, someone who has a history of multiple pneumonias and things is not a best candidate to have a tube in their throat for a few hours.
It sounds like they do it for a lot of patients. Do you think some of that is a BMI thing? Because I know some anesthesiologists are not comfortable with higher BMIs and some are fine with it.
I mean, yeah, again, I'm not an anesthesiologist. I don't know in that sense, but what I would say is these guys are pros at getting airways and intubating. And in the end of the day, to be able to protect someone's airway, the best way is to intubate the patient. Even though it's hard, they can do it, and that's how you protect it. Now, you may not be able to get them off the vent, and that's where you're thinking, well, okay, maybe their BMI, their weight, issues with lung volumes and anesthesia. They can't, because more BMI, higher BMI, your body will store the gases and the anesthesia in the fat cells, so then they can't wake up from surgery. And there's all these things. Again, these are all things anesthesiologists deal with, but which I'm not one. But yeah, so they want to do it safest
You're
for
not
you.
an
No, I'm not.
anesthesiologist?
Just make
Okay.
sure I'm not.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not. I have a lot of friends who are.
But you did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's different ways. There's different levels. Even hand surgery, I'll do stuff under local and that because I don't want to have to put a tube in a patient. Even my cosmetic stuff, I don't tube patients unless we have to, right? But the whole thing is we want to make sure we're able to protect someone's airway. So the anesthesiologist needs to be able to predict or at least have a good idea of, okay, if something goes haywire in this case or goes south, I need to be able to protect their airway. That's like their main goal of keeping you alive, your heart pumping, and then you breathing, right? So they assess you ahead of time. So even if you get an epidural, you could stop breathing. It could go a high epidural and then your respiratory arrest, So, but they're comfortable.
That's an interesting concept, though. I've never really thought or heard about an epidural for surgery.
Oh,
yeah, it makes sense though,
It
like
does
right,
make
because
sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
right, like the amount of
I've had one. And it
pain
was
it
fabulous.
relieves.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought of it either, but I'm like, oh yeah, that does seem like it would help prevent any pain.
Yeah.
And they told me that, I'm not sure if this is true, but they were like, it helps with recovery. So my sister had him in Tijuana, like she was out like after her surgery, like for the whole week, 4 or 5 days, just laying in her hospital or hotel room, just like not able to function. But for me, I was in the hospital for 2 nights, and then I went back to my hotel, and I was walking around the city, going to the circus,
Which
going
is
to
what
the
you
beach.
want to do. Yeah, you don't want to be bedridden.
Yeah,
You don't
I
want to
wanna
get blood
be up
clots in
and
your
Right,
legs. You
yeah.
don't want to get a pulmonary clot.
And they were like, oh, it just helps because I don't do well with general anesthesia anyway. So like I feel like I would have been out for the rest of the week had I had that. But
Yeah, and a lot
I
of
don't know.
general involves narcotics. I mean, where we try to avoid narcotics because people get very nauseated and throw up. The last thing you want to be doing after having gastric sleeve is
anything
throwing
with
Oh,
your
up.
I can't
stomach
even.
area.
So these are
Oh.
things that they have to
Wow.
take into consideration,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's good. You want to do what's safe. So at the end of the day, you want to do what's safe for the patient and, taking all your risks into account and all that.
So you mentioned you have, a lot of excess skin now that you're dealing with. How do you like think about that mentally compared to like how you felt before with just the excess weight? Like, is that a constant struggle for you to?
Yes.
And even with that though, like you said earlier, you feel like it was all worth it, and so even having the excess skin, you feel like it's still way better than the alternative.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, even just the weight, like, I don't think people realize. I mean, I'm down 100 pounds within like not even a year.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I can tell the difference walking upstairs. Like, gravity is like, I feel like so much
Like Mary
better walking up
Poppins.
the stairs. I'm just like
It's just easier.
jumping
and-
around. Like, it's crazy. But the skin, it is hard with the skin because it would have been there anyway because of my daughter. I carried her really, 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 really low. And so I had already a bunch of loose skin. Even after I had her, I lost some weight. And I was like, this is not going away. Like, but yeah, it is kind of hard with that because I just see myself the same a little. And I do have still some like disordered thinking in the fact that it's like, I still, unless I didn't, like, as I've been taking progress pictures this whole time, but if I had not been taking progress pictures, I would be like,
Did
Nothing.
anything
I am
even
literally the
happen?
same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What was like the thing that made you decide to go through the surgery, and
I think it was
like,
just,
what was the
I
tipping point?
I think it was all of my lung issues and all of my like joint, like my knees and my back. I've got bulging discs in my back that sometimes get inflamed. And that just made it worse, and where I couldn't like do any workouts. So it was like, if my knees weren't hurting, my back was hurting. If my back wasn't hurting, my knees were hurting. And so I couldn't really do much working out, and I just felt like I couldn't move. And then with my lung issues and like all of that, I was just kind of like just sitting on my couch, and I was getting fatter and fatter, like just eating and being depressed. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I have to change this for myself. Otherwise, like, I'm not going to be able to like play with my daughter and like, just like be who I
Well,
want to be.
You're young.
Yeah, I'm 29. I'm not even 30, and I felt like I was 80 years old. I was literally going to my pulmonologist office like with other people on air machines,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm
I
gonna
just
die.
can't be here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta do something different.
yeah. So I was just depressed, and I think I just hit a bottom, like a rock bottom.
Yeah.
And then I just was like, gotta change it. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. My sister had it done 6 months before me, and she had a good experience. And she was like, it was nice to talk to her. It was nice to be able to have somebody who had it
Yeah,
done,
For sure.
and like and I could get her insight and all of that.
Obviously, you've known these guys for a long time. Did you talk to Jerry at all, like before you went, like saying you were considering, like, and get his?
No,
And I only
he
ask
would've
'cause,
said-
it
he would have
seems-
said, "What the heck are you thinking?
Probably,
Don't do that."
but I mean, like, now, I've been guilty of this, of asking Jerry, oh, what about this, or what do you think of this, right? Like, people
Yeah.
want to ask doctors
She
that they know,
kept it
right?
very, very private.
I didn't
For a very
tell-
long
Yeah,
time.
I literally I didn't even tell my own family, like my parents. I live with my parents, And we went to Mexico. Me and my husband went to Mexico, and they all thought it was a vacation.
Yeah.
And then I got
I knew
home.
for months that she was going to Mexico.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
thought it was like, wasn't it for your birthday or anniversary?
It was for,
or
well,
something?
his birthday was that week.
Okay, yeah.
So
See, I just
we
thought it
went
was
the
for
week
that.
of his birthday.
Yeah.
And we came home, we had a family dinner, and I wasn't eating anything. And my mom was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Well, I actually had weight loss surgery in Mexico." And it was a really awkward family dinner.
But did your sister talk about it more openly? Or
Yeah,
was
my
she-
sister had told her that she was going.
Okay.
But my
you
mom
guys knew, like,
supported-
ahead of time.
Yeah,
that
my
she
mom
was-
supported her decision, I think, because she was much, much larger than I was. So I think my mom was more supportive because of that. Because a lot of people would look at me and say, "You're not big enough to need that." And they didn't realize how much I weigh because I carry my weight well, apparently. So it's like, I don't know. I think a lot of people judge people who get it done that aren't like 400 pounds, but they don't realize how much they actually weigh. And
Well,
how
that
much
and
it
they don't
affects them.
realize the complications that you're having from
Right.
the weight you do have, regardless of
Right.
Mhm.
if it's extreme or not. You're obviously having medical issues, and
Yeah.
they
I
don't
always see
know
that
those
with
things.
even breasts, right? So women that have very large breasts, for example, some women have very large, like there's like 2-3 letters in the bra,
Mhm.
size, and some don't. But it's all relative, right? Like you said, like people can have horrible back pain, neck pain, shoulder
Oh, yeah.
grooving, rashes, and their breasts may be half the size as another woman's, but they're both having the same problems.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what we see in breast reduction surgery is it doesn't actually matter the total volume that's taken off. It's just that when you actually remove just some volume, it helps all those symptoms.
Mhm.
So yeah, it
I've
doesn't
noticed
like you
that.
can't compare yourself to like even your sister or somebody else, like because it's your body and you're the one having the problems. It
Mhm. Yeah.
doesn't matter like your weight. I mean, yeah, you knew like you wanted to be less, but
Mhm.
you didn't have to be 200 pounds less.
Right.
100. But
Right.
So
affected
when
you.
you got, Mindy mentioned it's great to go out to dinner with you because you're a cheap date. Do people tend to be apprehensive eating around you because they feel like
Oh,
guilty
yeah.
that they're
People
eating
are
more
like,
than?
"Don't judge me what I'm eating. Don't judge how much I'm eating." And I'm just like, I literally am not even thinking about what you're eating. I'm just glad I
Yeah.
can have a bite or two of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I don't worry about anybody else or like what
Well,
they're
and
eating.
you've obviously been, like you said, you've been an emotional eater. You've been on the other side.
Yeah, I totally get it.
You're just like beyond all of this. She's
I don't
one of the
judge
least
anybody else's-
non-judgmental
I do
people
not judge
in the
anyone's
world.
body, like no matter their size. For me, it was literally a health issue.
The
like,
only
where-
people we judge are the Bachelor and Bachelorette.
Yes, Bachelor and Bachelorette, we have a lot of opinions about.
Yeah,
But
otherwise,
I had a
doesn't
friend.
matter. We don't care what you do.
Yeah, I do not. And people are, and I'm just like, do you not know me? Do you not know who I am? Because I
Seriously.
don't
Yeah.
care.
No.
I had a friend who had gastric bypass, and I went out to dinner a few times after that with her, and I always felt so guilty eating.
Yeah.
It's like, she would make it
I'm
like
jealous.
she's like, don't worry about it, but I still couldn't help like knowing that it was a meal that she could have had prior to that surgery, and now after the surgery she can, and it's almost like I'm rubbing it in her face,
Oh,
right?
no.
Do you, if you have
You get
vegan
used to
friends and
it.
you eat steak in front of them, do you feel guilty?
It's actually the opposite. I don't feel guilty. I feel judged.
Oh,
Like, I don't feel guilty.
That's a little
yeah,
different.
that's true. That's
I
different.
feel like, that I know they're looking down on me because,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying life, eating the food that I want to eat.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about a little bit about the medical tourism. So, I mean, I don't know if it's because we're so close in distance to Mexico, especially being when we were in Southern California, but going to, was it ASAP's that we went to in New Orleans?
Yeah, the aesthetic meeting. hmm
They talked a
For
lot
plastic
about
surgeons.
medical tourism within the United States. Like people are traveling across even state lines
Yeah.
to get surgery. You've experienced
Oh, I have
a
a
lot
lot.
of people coming.
I have all over coast to coast.
And I guess they were saying plastic surgery in general in Miami is really, really, really competitive. That there's a lot of lower prices there because there's so many people.
Especially from the East Coast.
Yeah,
Going down
well, yeah, from the East Coast goes down, and even Central America will come up, or they'll, even
Is
Well, a
there
lot of people probably
similar-
go to Florida, get their thing done, and not tell anybody like I did, and be like, "I'm here for vacation."
Yeah.
Like,
Is there-
'cause it's a great
Is there as
vacation
much
spot.
risk
Yeah.
in domestic medical tourism as there is
Yeah,
international?
Well, I don't know if it's the, from the surgeon perspective, but just travel in general.
Mhm.
I had a patient recently that came back
Anyone-
from Europe like the day before, and I didn't know that, and was there for his tummy tuck, and we ended up, I canceled the surgery. I rescheduled it because, you travel that much. I mean, we don't know exactly why, but people are higher risk for, you're sitting in a plane for 12 hours, you're not moving. You have a higher chance of what's called, venous thromboembolism. You can get a clot in your leg, and then you go and then have surgery, and you lay down for 6
Especially
hours.
with tummy tucks. That's,
Yeah, tummy tucks is the highest. Well, Brazilian butt list, tummy tucks highest issues in plastic surgery. But yeah, especially tummy tuck. People get blood clots,
Mhm.
and so
Well, she
yeah,
also
I don't
got
want people
sick
traveling
from
and doing
flying
that.
too. Like people get sick being confined in the little airplane, breathing all the same air for however many
Well,
hours.
and
and-
Europe is, I mean, a lot of I've donated plasma before, and like they won't let you donate plasma if you've been to Europe for a long enough period.
Mhm.
So it's like even from that perspective, like there could be a danger to having them go under the knife or something.
Yeah, so when I have very strict protocols for even people that are domestic.
He's very conservative with stuff like this.
So yeah, I have, if someone's coming for breast augmentation or especially a tummy tuck, I kind of have things that we establish, and I have a low threshold to give them blood thinners before surgery. All my patients get leg squeezers and all TED hose. So I do all the precautions, but I take extra precaution for traveling people, and then I give them strict instructions when they can go back to their state, depending on where they're coming from, or if they're driving, traveling, what they have to do to get out of the car. I give them leg squeezers. We do all this stuff because I don't want people coming here having surgery and going, because you're right, because now it's like, okay, now they go back to their state, and what if they have an issue when they're back there? I'm responsible. They're my patient. So one thing I do try to do always, though, is find someone in their area that I can either
Refer
trust or
them
refer them
to.
to. So, and I get a lot of people from California, so I have a lot of friends down there who, I would refer them to. But yeah, I mean, so there are people that want to travel because, even here, Utah's very competitive. I mean, it's not like
It is.
Florida, but it is very competitive. So we get a lot of people coming here, and they're willing to fly here to do stuff. So, but you're right, it's a huge thing. They talk about that at the meeting, and so I try to be very conscious of that because I don't want to ever do anything that's going to harm my patients.
Well, I've
Right.
been surprised at how many patients you have had come from different states.
Mhm.
It's been
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
We're super grateful for it, but I just didn't realize how many people travel
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
surgery.
totally. Yeah,
It's hard. Like, I went a few days before because we wanted to do some like tourism stuff
Yeah, you
before,
wanted to actually go on a
and I wanted to
vacation.
actually have, yes, but I wasn't eating anything, and we went on a boat ride. We went on a tour, an all day boat
Like an
ride, and I was
excursion?
so seasick.
seasick.
Oh.
I couldn't even enjoy any of it
That
because I
sounds
couldn't
like
eat
me.
anything.
Yeah, and that
Like
makes
they
you
were like,
super
you're not
sick.
allowed to eat anything, and I wasn't gonna risk it.
Yeah,
I've heard of a lot of patients, like a lot of people, like don't obey the rules,
yeah.
and it's
That's when you
like
have issues.
super sketchy. And I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna do everything I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
So, do they want your stomach clean? Is that part of the non-eating and the?
Oh yeah, your
liquid
whole
diet
system.
only.
Yeah. Did they have you do anything to clear your system out, like take any mag citrate or anything?
No,
Okay.
they just
no
they
bowel
just
prep or
had
anything.
only liquid for
Yeah.
the whole week before,
Yeah.
and
Which is, I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind of
Pretty
essentially
much
doing the
about
same
that.
thing.
Just
Yeah.
but then coming home, I mean, luckily I didn't have any complications.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing bad happened. I mean, I was nauseous a lot,
Mhm.
more than I feel like they told me I was more nauseous than most of the patients.
Mhm.
But I was only nauseous for a few days, and then but coming back was kind of rough.
Yeah.
Just sitting on the plane.
Yeah.
I would definitely not recommend doing layovers anywhere. Just get a direct
Just
flight
go.
back and forth,
Get
and
home.
then just stand up on the flight as much as you
Yeah.
can. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was not very fun. I would have much rather it's not very fun recovering in a hotel room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just even if you have a nice one, it's still not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You just want to be at home.
Sometimes, being in your own bed is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you for coming on, Cheryl. And it's anytime someone's kind of sharing their own medical history and things, it's very sensitive and private for people. So thank you for being willing to share that. I know, like I said, you do share some of this on social media.
Mhm.
So what's your social media? Is this something that's to the public that
Sure.
You can share who's.
Yeah.
Where can we follow you
So
at?
you can follow me on Instagram, I guess. You can follow my weight loss account. It's not like that
what
cool
is
or
it?
anything.
It's
I
exciting
just
though.
post like
It's exciting to
updates
watch.
and
Yeah.
things, but it's called On the Way Down. On the and then underscore way is like WEIGH.
I'll put
like,
it in the description
Yeah.
Cool, on the
correctly.
way
So.
down.
Yeah,
That's-
so-
I like that. Okay.
Yeah, and then my
Nice play on words.
thanks.
Yeah. She's
I know. I thought
creative.
about it and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I'm gonna
Love
do
it.
And then my personal one, you can follow me too. It's Share Evil.
Cool. Oh yeah,
So
that's what I think I tagged you in earlier today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think your story, for anybody that watches it, is going to be really helpful. Maybe there's people out there that are contemplating the same thing, and to get that kind of personal perspective on what they can expect if they choose to go through it could be really helpful.
mhm.
You never know who you're going to inspire with your story.
It's true.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm gonna definitely come to Jerry when I stabilize
You're
and
stable,
get this
yeah.
little apron thing taken off.
Yeah, well, that will help you out for sure. Yeah, and one thing I think just learning and talking to you is that there are people who do their research, and you just, as long as you're doing your research, you've talked to people, and you feel comfortable and confident, you understand the risks. That is a
Right.
big part. It doesn't matter what country you're in. You need to know everything in the risk, and even elective stuff that I do for patients. You need to know the risks and the benefits and all that. And so when you're well educated, you're well informed, and you can make that decision. You have a good brain, and you're an adult, so yeah, you can make that decision.
Right.
And at the end of the day, no one can judge you for that. And
No one
so-
should.
No one should, yeah. And like you said, like there's pros and cons for everything here and there, and so I think that's just the most important thing. It's kind of understanding that, and then what you want to do from there.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure. I'm glad I could come on here because I was a little bit nervous because I was like, oh, he's gonna judge me so hard. Like he is so judging me. And I mean, I know that you have like your opinions and everything about it, and so I think it's cool to like have that like
Yeah.
interaction. I guess the
I
conversation
think Jerry's
about it.
definitely one of the most non-judgmental people I know.
Oh yeah.
At least
Yeah.
face to face, right?
Oh, right.
Who knows
Yeah,
what him and Mindy
you
talk
should
about
hear
at
it.
night?
No.
That's
He
right.
really
Right.
is. And what's interesting is he's especially the most non-judgmental when it comes to other physicians. He will never, ever talk bad about another physician. He mentions that he wants you to be informed, just
Mhm.
like he did. It's the only thing he'll do is he'll do your research. The worst thing I've ever heard him say is, "Did you know that's not really a plastic surgeon?"
Yeah.
That's
Which
the
I
worst.
think he
thing.
mentions like on every podcast.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, I mean,
he's
that's-
very
Still.
passionate about cosmetic
it's-
surgeons pretending to be plastic
Plastic
surgeons.
Yeah, because they're lying. They're
Yeah.
lying to their
And
patients.
you end
As a
up fixing some
physician,
of the complications that happen, but that's
Yeah.
a whole nother.
Mhm.
Maybe we
well,
can talk
maybe
about that
lying is a
next
Get
strong
'em.
word. They're deceiving the public. I shouldn't say
Mhm.
lying.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's lying, but deceiving the public as to what their credentials are.
Right.
Just say
Yeah.
what you are. If you're a dentist and you want to do cosmetic surgery, just say that. But people need to know what your credentials are, and so they can make an informed decision.
Right, exactly.
If it was a plastic surgeon doing your gastric sleeve bypass, but tried to say that they were a minimally invasive surgeon, like you should know that and be
Right.
like, I don't know if I want that guy doing my gastric sleeve. So
Mhm.
same thing.
Right.
That's what irks me, and that's why I just get passionate about it because
That's the most negative though that he ever gets about another physician. He always even when he's on call, if he has complications from another physician come in, he never dogs the physician. Things happen.
yeah.
And like you
I
even
would hope
mentioned, like it's
someone took
it's
care of my
very
patient if it happened.
Yeah, it's very patient specific. Like me and you could go in the exact same time, exact same day. I
Mhm.
guess not exact same time, but we could get the same surgery
Procedure,
done, and
yeah.
it would be totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can have different
yeah.
complications and different things, and it's
yeah,
just like
so he's not.
Yeah.
He just wants
Well, cool.
patients to be informed.
Yep.
That's
Well,
why everybody loves him.
He's
well, thanks
alright.
for tuning in to Dr. Chit.
okay.
Someone spelled my name wrong again today. I'll
Oh,
have
a
to
new one,
post it.
huh?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'll post it. Let me tell you what it was. This is number 44, 45. Hold on. I took a photo of it because I thought it was hilarious.
I was hoping we've started getting Christmas cards, and
Where is it?
every
Oh, here.
time I look at a Christmas card, I'm hoping
Chid.
someone spelled it wrong.
Chidesler.
Chidesler.
Chidesler. CHIDESLE. So yeah, an L instead of a T.
See where-
Chidesler.
The L is not even near the
That's
T
cute.
on the keyboard.
Chidesler.
'Cause that's all.
Well, yeah, so that didn't work. But that's a good one. That's a new one. I'll post that soon.
Chidester.
Here. Chidester.
I got it.
yeah,
this is Dr.
so
Chidester.
I did that T-shirt design.
Yeah, oh, yeah. You
You
gotta add
had
that
like
one.
24 or 25 of them, but like the list was too long, so I had to cut it down to like the top 15.
I think that's
So many, dude. So
As
many.
long as
This keeps
Terry
going.
Tiddler's
Yeah, I
on
know.
there, we're
That's-
good.
Terry Tiddler.
Terry
Yeah, the
Tiddler.
best. Well, this is Terry Tiddler, Chidester MD, signing out. Ron Nichols, Mindy, my wonderful wife.
What is Mindy's
Chidester.
last name? Oh, Chidester.
Chidester.
Yeah,
And Cheryl Stout, right? Stout. I don't know why I spelled
Like the
that.
beer.
But Stout, like the beer. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Next week, I don't know exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to do something awesome. And we're going to have another guest, most likely.
I think the next
Secret
2
guest.
weeks, I'm gonna wear my Christmas suit jacket and then my ugly
Okay.
sweater. So
So you're hinting.
the next
yeah.
2 weeks are gonna be
Sweet.
Christmas themed episodes. Okay.
Cool. Well, you're wearing your Utah today.
Well, that's because tomorrow's the big game.
Big game, Pac-12
Who they
championship.
play?
Oregon. And if they win, they
Oh,
might
it
get
is a
to
big
play
game.
in the playoffs for the
Yeah.
national championship.
Huge.
Not
So-
that Mindy cares because she
Yeah,
hates
she's very
Utah,
fan.
but that's
Hey,
all
I
right.
don't
But
hate them. I want
She
them
doesn't
to
like
win.
them because I owe them a lot of money for going to school there.
I told Jerry I will switch from being a BYU fan to a Utah fan when they forgive his student loans.
Oh yeah.
So
That's
watch
never
that
happening.
happen.
So go Utes. We'll
Cold
see you guys
day
next week.
in Florida.
Chit chat with Chiddy, Chidester MD, specialized in hand anesthetic surgery. Kick start my day, grab some Thai food on the way. Call me the tasteless surgeon as you watch me stuff my face. Rocket Jordans with my suit, I'm a true gentleman. BMW matted black, used to ride a minivan. Augment reality, upsize and get a lift. Give that nose a job if you really need to see it shift. Got them wrinkles running scared, kill them with some Botox. Keep your face looking fresh like my 50 pairs of shocks. Chi-town, Saudi Arabia, high school, college at the U. Loma Linda, USC, back to Utah round 2. Not just simply tight, like some creamer, I'm half and half. Watch me drop it like it's hot when you really need to laugh. 7-finger tummy tuck, everything in between. Hit me up on Instagram, create reality from a dream. Chit chat with Chitty. Chit chat with Chitty. Chit chat with Chitty. Chit chat with Chidester MD.